I'll go first.
Damn it. You know when you ask something, you instantly regret it?
I got one. I've been waiting. I've been waiting all week, and I said, I got to share this. And then the fact that Andrea's here and it's a full class, I'm like, man, I can't wait to share this one.
It's like it was meant to be. So
That's right.
there we go. Right, 3 minutes. You're up.
Boom. All right. So you know how I'm doing the serve thing, passing out the stickers, the get one, give one, right? So I'm trying to find the balance in daily life with the family and just kind of chilling back and just, when we're out as a group, not do anything. So first win is that we're out as a group, right? As we were talking about, what's our superpower? Well, that we have a large footprint. We have 5 kids, and this weekend we actually had a 6th kid because our neighbor was doing drill duty. She's a reservist, so we took on her child. So, of course, she had soccer, and it was her finals, so we go to the soccer field, and she plays soccer. They lose. So we said, let's go to Chick-fil-A, and that's a restaurant here, Mark, that serves chicken sandwiches and stuff. Very family-oriented, friendly place. So we go there, let the kids burn off some steam, and just chill out. Well, so we got this big production. We got 6 kids, 2 adults, $60 fast food bill, the whole bit, right? And I'm just kind of trying to get things settled, the kids eating, and my wife calls me over to a table that she befriended because there were some gals there that were talking about the kids and large families and all this and all that. So Marco and Luisa's world started talking to our world, right? So my wife kind of signals me over, and I come over there kind of a little bewildered, and she says, hey, this woman over here is a veteran. And I said, oh, okay. And she says, tell her about served. And I was like, oh, okay, that's really cool. So then I start going into my pitch real quick. Just, we're at a restaurant. Well, get this. And this is where I've been trying to figure out what these little stickers are. These little stickers are planting hope. So since I only have a few more minutes or a few seconds left, turns out that the woman, the quietest one of the bunch, was 3 women, an older woman, which was the mom, and then a sister, and then what would it seem like a younger sister, but they're all in their late 40s, early 50s to maybe 70, 80 years old. So that's the range of these 3 women. The quietest one is a vet that is suffering from PTSD of her own military service, but at the same time, she had a tragic moment because she found her brother, a Marine, that committed suicide a year ago because of us. So I'm telling her what served is, what we're building, what the vision is, and why it's so important to give this other sticker to someone else. And so I give her the whole served message, like it was ready. It happened. The amazing part about it is that the woman and the family, their bodies changed. Like the woman with PTSD, her facial muscles literally changed. It was incredible. I don't even know how to explain it to y'all. So then, this is the craziest part. I thought they were locals just at the Chick-fil-A. They were passing through from West Virginia, and they got in a scuffle because they wanted to eat at Wendy's up the road, and they couldn't figure out how to make the U-turn, so they just ended up at Chick-fil-A. We, from our soccer game, couldn't figure out whether to eat at McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Panera Bread, and we got in a scuffle, and we just ended up at Chick-fil-A. Well, I call it by divine appointment. We ended up at Chick-fil-A. These folks were passing through from West Virginia, and not only did I give her a get one, give one, I gave her a stack, and I said, here you go. And I said, listen, the website's not up. It's just a landing page. She says, I will be back several times. And so it was really, really, really incredible. I wanted to share with the team because all our conversations, all our stories, boom, done. I mean, it was just that's a major, major, major win. So,
Good, man.
Yeah, so even though I kind of feel like, man, I haven't got this up yet, I'm not doing this, it doesn't matter because it was just this 21-cent sticker, actually 50 cents, 42 cents that I handed this woman, and she literally changed, and it was incredible. The mom felt at peace because she was like, I don't understand why my son just couldn't talk to me. And I said, he didn't know how. And anyways, it really it seemed like a piece to them of some type of understanding. So that's what we're doing. And then so I told them about Surf Radio, that's coming up soon, and they got excited. And anyways, there was just a lot of validation in the whole concept, and it was just a major win. Like every single penny that I've poured into this, and it keeps happening because I told Mark about it just keeps happening week after week after week, and it just seems like it's just an amazing thing. So anyways,
Good, man. Well done.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, that's good. That's what this is all about. That's what Serve's about, man. So keep preaching that. That's awesome. Well done. You never know what people are going through and what the little thing can do for people. It's connection. Well done, man. Really impressed. Good stuff.
Well, the thing about it is, I would have never have pegged any of those three people involved in this circle, in this space. They just, quote unquote, didn't look like it. You know what I'm saying? And to know that one sister, she herself had PTSD from her military service, and then on top of it, she's the one that found her brother was going through another layer of it. And just looking at that woman in public, one would never put the pieces together.
It's good, man.
And so yeah, it was good.
Well done. That's really cool. Well played. We'll chat about that. About how to capture that a little bit further and do a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well done, man. You should be proud of that one. Good.
I am.
So, Andrea, I'm going to come to you next. I saw you plugging the headphones in, which is good. So, wins and challenges. What have we been like? What's been going on?
All right. So, once again, I keep beating myself up that I'm not doing anything. And then when I sit to prepare for this, I'm like, oh, I do have stuff to say. So the landing page is up. I just want to change out the pics on that. I signed up for an Appreciative Inquiry whole community gathering. So that will allow me to meet more people and get more involved in the whole community. And that is in September. I'm writing ideas for series podcasts, and I'll be reviewing them with you tomorrow.
Good.
My Global Ed Summit is coming up in just a couple weeks. And for that, I was just also asked to be a data steward, which will be an extra duty while I'm there. And we have over 800 people signed up, with more coming. So it's pretty amazing, and it's history making. So it's exciting. I reviewed Conversations Worth Having online on Amazon for the author at her request, which was pretty cool. Great book, and I think I shared it with you, Mark. It's great for any team. It goes across contexts. Kind of also speaks to what I'm trying to do across contexts and how it's possible in a book. That was cool. I am slated to meet with my corporate client next week for his summit planning for October. And my challenge is still, I just have to get over this thing with the equipment. You guys gave me great suggestions for the Zoom. And my other question is mic suggestions for that. So if anybody has, I think Carm, you had some great suggestions around that too. Like I'm a stickler about the noise. So I will be happy to hear any feedback on that.
Just grab a mic that you need to get on top of. So there's a few, like the ATR is a good one, but I find that is going to capture a little bit of background noise, quite a lot. I'd get maybe a couple of Shure SM58s, or even my preference over the SM58 is the EV, which is an EV Electro Voice 767A. The reason that I like that one is it's got a little bit more gain to it, so you end up with a little bit more out of it, and you have to be right on top of that. I've recorded in piano bars and reception lobbies, and you can hear the background noise, but you're not distracted by it because you've got to be on top of them. You're going to hear the ambience, but you're not going to be beaten down by it. Whereas with the ATR, you do kind of hear the surrounding noise.
Okay.
So yeah, they're always a good bet. And because you've got the Zoom as well, most people say, well, use the ATR because you can then plug it into the computer. because you have the Zoom, you don't have to worry about that because you can plug into the Zoom and then into the computer from that. So you kind of circumventing some problems there. So yeah, I'd go with the Shure SM58 or the Electro Voice 767A.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
And then also, I just wanted to, I think I shared with Raf, but Roots for Boots would be a great place for him to start for his served. It's an organization that's doing all kinds of stuff for veterans and helping them in their homes, in their communities. And, you know, it's not far from him. So good stuff.
Check it out. Roots for Boots. Perfect. Well done. Honestly, you've been very busy recently, which is great. You seem a lot brighter. The health seems to be getting there. So really good. Well done. You seem bright and full of it, which is good.
Oh, I'm full of it.
I know that. Oh, I know that. No, well done. It looks really good. Honestly, it looks really good what you've been putting together. I'm looking forward to catching up tomorrow on it. So thank you very much. Cam, I'm going to come to you now, my floppy-haired friend. I like this look. It's versatile. You can sweep it back. You can kind of do this with it. You can do this. It's a good look.
Thank you.
Looking a bit European.
Thank you very much. I cling on to every word you say, and of course, any comments about my hair coming from Mark Asquith. Are you kidding me?
You are welcome.
Wow. My VA started today. Yeah, I know. Cool. Big. So that's the upside. The challenge is to do all my work and bring on Rick. His name is Rick. And I'm just stoked. And there's nothing more to say. Challenges is just to make all that happen. Raf, I spent Saturday at the Thunder of Niagara Air Show. And all I could think about was you. As you know, I saw the F-22 go through its paces, and I saw the Galaxy C5, and I saw these unbelievable airplanes and these air shows with the Thunders, and all I could think about was all the military that were there, not only veterans, and what a place for you to be hanging, or actually to have a booth, and what an option for you. And the other thing I thought about is great story about Chick-fil-A. If you had your Zoom recorder in the car and you didn't have your entire family there, what an opportunity to pull an interview. Unbelievable.
Well, and I'm finding that, believe it or not, the Zoom H6 might just be too big because we are in that space where we have this microphone and we're going to get right on it. And I'm finding that I am now carrying my Zoom with me. But rolling out with this device and wires and microphones, it intimidates people. So I'm actually looking into something. I know you're shaking your head, but I'm checking this out. It's this looks like a little matchbox. Zoom just came out with one, but there's this other company, Teak, I think is what it is. And it's only $100, so it's not very expensive, but it's a lavalier mic, and it records straight to a little SD card. So I'm thinking of carrying that around, and then when something happens, just say, "Hey, can I clip this on you?" and just hit record, and it's not. But yeah, so that has come many a times where I'm like, I wish I had a microphone.
Yeah.
Wait here, and then I come back with my gear. They're all like, "Oh, what's this?"
So let's jump in there, Raf. But two things: I don't spend any more money. You've got the Zoom. Just bring out the Zoom with the attachment that comes with the microphone on the head. So you can. I don't even know what I've got here to represent it.
The XY. So the XY is what you're saying.
Yeah. And you just throw that. Or if you really want to do it on your phone, just buy a Rode RODE Smart Lav Plus and just plug that into your phone. Use the Rode app.
The phone, and then use the Rode app. Yeah. That's actually better. Thank you.
No
Thank you. Yeah.
Cool. So, sorry, can't carry on. What we got?
That's it, babe.
Good. Did you start your process? Have you got enough documentation for Rick to start? How's that kind of onboarding going?
Yes, I actually did. He's really good with process, so I think he's going to blend in. I think he's going to do more to help me than me to help him.
That's what we like.
Yeah, I know exactly what I'm looking for. This guy, and he's willing to work his unbelievable hours. From 7 at night to midnight to maybe even to 2 in the morning. And not that I would be up that late, but that we could hook up every morning, starting at 7 in the morning for me. So that's what he prefers to do. He's got a family. They've got to get to school. He's got to take his kids to school in the morning. So it's just may work out perfect.
Well done. Good work, man.
Carm,
That's a really big stage, big stage for you. That. Well done.
Carm, can you quickly go through the vetting process on the VA? Is it something that you just said, I'm looking for like a personal ad, like, gender, skill set, or you just sort of weed through like a file portfolio of all these people? Like how did it start?
I hired Virtual Staff Finder to do it for me. They're based in the Philippines, by the way. It's
Right.
Duck Company. And
Right, I know them.
They stepped me through the whole process. They placed the ads. I gave them my requirements, what my job description would be. They placed the ads. They found me 3 interviews to do. I did all 3, and I settled on one. And they give you all the documents to help you: salary, non-disclosure agreements, VA agreements. I sent the NDA. I sent the hiring agreement to my lawyer. He made a couple of changes to make it localized, put my company name in, and it's almost been like warm butter.
Okay. Good. Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Good work, dude. Well played, Cam. Let me know how that goes. We'll chat on that tomorrow as well, because we're curious about that. Good work, dude. Daryl, I'm going to come to you, sir. Wins, challenges, last couple of weeks. I know you've been super stacked. So how are things in the world of the IT career guy?
Well, I picked up another, mentee, if you will, someone to coach, middle-aged individual who's looking at making a career change. So that's good. More material for me, more validation of what I'm doing. On the course, I'm still working on that course, just that simple 45-minute thing. And I have about 2/3 of that done and hope to put that to bed this week. And then I'll have something to go to for a freebie, a good quality freebie for people to get them into my fold and start creating a funnel. And so those are the wins. Challenges are, I hate to say time, but that's what it is. And between everything else that's going on in life, it's very, very difficult to create the time and stay at it and put enough hours into it. So I'm really suffering on putting enough hours into this business. I know I need to put in probably a good 6 to 8 hours more than what I am. Mm-hmm. That's the only, that's the big challenge. I know I'm getting.
Daryl, is that per day or per week?
Per week. Yeah, this is a side gig for me. And I'm looking at it being a side gig for, a couple of 3 years. It's just, I want to be, even a side gig requires quite a bit of time, right? Yeah. And I'm in the IT career field, and that's demanding as it is. And of course, everything else advice for your priority, for your time. It's just a challenge. So I have to work through that. I have to get better at batching. Right now, it's still taking me a good 2 to 3 hours to create and edit a podcast, just one 12-minute podcast. So I really need to get better at that. The list goes on.
Mm-hmm. I think you've got to also maybe worry less about the editing as well. If you're doing the 12-minute shows, just allow yourself a little flexibility on the ums and the ahs and all that sort of stuff, to get yourself into the mix of it a little bit. You know what your quality levels are and what you want to get in there. But just make sure that you're not doing things that don't matter to other people. It's that perfection is the enemy of shipped sort of thing. So just kind of consider that. But we can talk about that tomorrow. I wouldn't mind actually tomorrow then maybe just have a quick go through your process. And just look at that in a little bit more depth. Look at exactly what you're doing and how we might be able to help with that a little bit. So cool, that makes sense. And the course, how far off do you think the course is? Like, what's left to do on the course?
Just to finish it. I got halfway through it, and I have these 2 little things called grandkids who came knocking on the door, bursting into the office, interrupting midstream. So I have to go back through, pick up on a good spot and just finishing it off. So I have the intro created. And I think I may be being a little bit too particular, but on a course, I really want to get it right. Yeah. And of course, finishing up the actual meat of the course. Yeah.
Good, that makes sense. So we'll go through some specifics on that. But at least you keep publishing. That's a big step up from even just a month ago, just over a month ago when you launched. You're continuing to publish, so that's the first hurdle done. You're in the zone with that now. So well played.
And I do have a speaking gig in October, so I'll set that up.
Oh, good. What's that? Tell us a little bit about
that. Well, information security, and that's one of my specialties in this career. And I'll be giving a speech to it's an ISSA, it's Information Security Association here in the States, and it's giving a speech on risk management and communicating to senior level management.
Good. They keep coming in, those, actually, the speaking gigs. So well played. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Good. I actually didn't know you staying on top. You like calm, like alternate calm in a different universe. That's cool. Cool. Right.
Dara, where are you based out of?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Okay.
Yeah, the Oklahoma City area.
I just started a new series called Geek 2.0.
Oh, okay.
And so I found a ton of people in my industry, that are passionate for IT. I got a network specialist, an author who speaks to this, and 3 shop owners that who's my main audience. We recorded our first one, and we had 10 talking points amongst all this group that came in, and I knew we wouldn't get to any of them. We only got to 2, and it was network security and stuff. Anyway, bottom line is, you may have to come on my show sometime.
Absolutely.
All right, just letting you know. I love it. And I'm going to actually it's called Geek 2.0, part 1, part 2, part 3. So I'm creating a series on that, because the IT side of even our industry, exposure to the cars, open Wi-Fi's in waiting rooms and all that stuff, our industry is doing a very poor job at that.
That's good. It's an opportunity for someone as well. Like that.
Don't forget Internet of Things when all the cars are interconnected soon.
Yeah, well, it's becoming V to X now today. V to X meaning everything. V meaning vehicle.
V to X. Get my V to my kettle. Get that T on. Cool. Thank you, sir. Daryl, very good, very good. And Marco, one for you then, sir. How are you been? What's the last couple of weeks been like? Wins and challenges, sir? How are you guys doing over in the clan?
I think biggest win is we survived our trip with our 12-hour drive with the 6 kids, both directions. But 12-hour drive turned into 18-hour drive. So it was interesting, but it was good. Good little break. And I've been working. Got another podcast series done. I just got the first episode up today. Got the second one that I'm finishing up the editing. Louisa just finished up another blog that's related to the podcast. That's also related to. All these are kind of on the same subject: sensory processing, and how it impacts kids' behaviors and what you can do about it. So that's actually an item that she's planning to do a course on. So we're trying to get as much info available on that subject as we can, because we seem to get a lot of traction with that subject. I think the biggest struggle too is getting an email list built up. It's been very, very slow. So trying to figure out what we need to do to improve that, and make some changes, whatever we need to do. So that's still the biggest struggle right now.
Okay, that makes sense. Email lists are a funny thing. It does take a hell of a long time to get anything. But I kind of want to talk about the onboarding anyway with that side of things today. That's kind of the topic for today. Once we wrap this up, is the onboarding part of it. 'Cause you don't actually need a big list to start doing good stuff. So I kind of want to just cover those angles off. Okay, so creating more content. Louisa messaged me, as you know, in Slack, and we can chat about that again in our session. But I know there's plenty going on with that one. And just to kind of footnote what we talked about in Slack with, is this stuff within the Harmonious clan? Is this kind of content all right? Around the sensory side of things. Yeah, anything that helps people create a better life for themselves, for the family, for the kids, that's within the remit. But just take it and look at it through the lens of sensitive high needs kids and the families that are kind of within that area. It's about taking a topic and applying your lens to it, I think is the key thing with that. So we can chat on that as well in the session. So good. Nice work. And Rick, last but not least, sir, how are you doing, man?
So, not anything huge to report. I guess the biggest thing is as soon as we get off this call, I'm being interviewed by You Magazine in the UK.
Nice.
They're doing a feature story on women coming out late in life. So they found me from the interview I did in South Africa. So that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. So I don't know when it'll come out in the Daily Mail, but it will be coming. It'll come out in the next few weeks, is what she told me. So so I'm sure they're doing it in conjunction with Pride at this point. So yeah. So that's a biggie. Other than that, just doing what I do. So getting blog posts out, doing a little bit of filming, trying to figure out why filming isn't, the lighting isn't working, but my excellent daughter, who's a film major, will be here this weekend. So that's my Father's Day gift, is you figure out this lighting for Dad. So, and that's about it. So
good work. That's interesting. I'll try and get hold of the magazine then and send you a couple over.
Cool. Yeah, it's very cool. I'm excited about it. So we'll see where it goes. But it's just interesting that this is like 2 outside the U.S. in less than 2 months. So something somewhere has got my ugly mug showing up on people's radar. So.
Well, that is what we like. Your ugly mug everywhere. No, well played. That's really good. I'll have a look into that when it comes out, and I'll keep an eye on it for you then. Good. That looks good. So the kind of conversation I wanted to have today then was around onboarding people in it. It stemmed from a couple of different reasons. Andrea, you're at the point now where you're going to start to want to bring people into that ecosystem. Raf, the same for you. Like, you and Andrea are kind of both the same at the same kind of stage. Cam, you're going to have a pile more time and space, or you're going to be able to do things. If you don't have time and space, you're going to have someone that will allow you to do things that you've never been able to do before. Marco and Louisa, you guys are ready to kind of build that email list. Rick, you're always ready to kick on and do more. And Daryl, you're at the point where you're launching a course. So each one of you are kind of at the point where we need to think about what happens when someone enters the ecosystem afterwards. It's not just about getting them in anymore. So one of the things that I'm kind of working on with Jess Kupferman is a new book, which is The Ultimate Guide to Becoming an Audio Influencer. And it's kind of going to be a book around monetizing a small email list. So we're taking out all the kind of people that aren't doing anything on the low level of podcasting, and taking out all the people that are doing things on the high level, and saying actually the world of podcasting and audio belongs to the middle. It belongs to the 90% of people that don't get 2 bazillion downloads, because that's what we're all creators and that's what we do. And one of the things that I really want to focus on with that is actually, what do you do with people once they come into the ecosystem? Because here's like the normal scenario is that you'll stick people on an email list, and you'll create a follow-up series based on what you think they want. So you'll send them out a little bit of, here's a little bit more content, here's some more value, here's all this good stuff. Or Daryl, in your case, it might be, okay, you're in my course ecosystem, here are some other bits of course, bits of added content, and so on and so forth. The trouble with that, people tend to fade off. People will fade off. So using your example, Marco, where we talked about how do we build this big list, actually, why don't we focus on the 50, 100, 200 people and making those into 200 people that stay, and then 100 people or 50 people or 20 people that buy, as opposed to trying to fill the top of the funnel all the time. Because if you fix that, if you dial that in, you can throw as many people in it as you want at the top, but you're not going to lose people as they go down through that funnel. Daryl, you mentioned about building the funnel, and we don't want to be losing people at each touch point on that funnel. So kind of one of the interesting things that I guess I kind of want to challenge you guys to is, how do you actually onboard people into your ecosystem? So if someone comes in via an email address, or if someone comes in via a Facebook group, they're in your ecosystem. If someone comes into your website, they're in your ecosystem. How do you onboard them into that? Now let's take the example of an email. Someone gives you an email for whatever. so many people will do like a 3-day follow-up, a 5-day follow-up, a 10-day follow-up, maybe a 15-day follow-up. Could you, and this is an open challenge, could you actually onboard people with a 100 days worth of content? Could you onboard them with 100 days worth of content? Maybe it doesn't go out a day after each other, so you're not going Monday through Friday every single week. Maybe you're sending them out once every 3 days, so they get a year's worth of onboarding. Could you do that? And you might be thinking, well, that's ridiculous. Why would you want to do that? Well, the biggest problem, and I kind of learned this from being a software company, is that you only lose people in the first tiny little kind of few seconds after the Big Bang, which in software and I guess podcasting terms is, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks. And then you keep them for a year. And it was the same in your ecosystems. You'll keep them, they're buying something, you'll keep them for like a year, over a year. It's the bit in between, though, where they don't engage. So what people tend to do is they'll focus on, well, we kept this person for 2 weeks, they're in the ecosystem, and then they might unsubscribe a year down the line. But when they're in that for a year, for that 1 year, or whatever it might be in your particular niche or industry, that 1 year, yeah, they're retained, but they're not doing anything. They're not buying anything, they're not engaging with anything, they're not doing anything to get anything from you. So Daryl, after the course, like they're not doing anything. They're just, boom, they're just in there. They're just on your email list. Okay? So I kind of want to challenge everyone to say, could you create 100 onboarding emails for people? And that could be anything from a 10-paragraph, 700-word email, right down to a 3-line, here's today's tip and curated piece of content. Could you do that? Could you create something? Andrea, from your perspective, it's a, wow, I've not created that much content yet. That's right, you don't. But what you've got is in there. If I was to say to you, Andrea, go and write me down 10 short, 1-sentence tips that you could give me to make my kids and my family a lot more positive at home, you'd be able to rattle that off easily. So it doesn't look the same for everyone. Like Marco, yours might be a mix of curated content and some takeaway tips, some little bits of, have you tried this book? Look at this particular thing. Rick, from your perspective, it might be, did you know I'm also a speaker? Did you know you can grab a hold of my book? But also, here's like the #1 podcast episode. Calm, from your side, shit ton of curated content, lots of little kind of tease on what's coming next. Daryl, from your side, it could very easily be something like, okay, you've done the course. Now what? 100 days to your new career. Raf, from your side, 100 case studies, 100 testimonials, 100 ways that served as touched people because you've given out over 100 stickers and each one of them has got a story. You know? So, like I said, it might sound over the top, but if you look at any kind of online marketer that's doing it well, you'll find that those emails that you get, they're part of a huge onboarding process. You've not been sent anything personal. You've not been sent anything timely. You've actually been sent this entire onboarding sequence. So kind of a big challenge, but I wanted to throw the gauntlet down and see if anyone wanted to take it up and see if anyone fancied it and, you know, kind of moving on with that one. I think it's going to be very interesting. So some thoughts. Let's see what everyone's thinking. Andrew, I can see you're nodding.
Yeah, I would love a challenge like this built into what we're doing. Like, I think that would hold me to a higher standard of productivity.
Good. And we can chat about this on each individual session tomorrow and flesh out what that onboarding is. Good. Yeah, I like that. And you can probably batch it as well. You can probably get it done in 3 days and then you set it and it's all done, you know?
You can get it done in 3 days. You're like the content like cranker.
Well, yes, I am. No, I am not actually. I'm terrible with stuff like this. But yeah, I know what you mean. If you can set some time aside, and I'd do 1 day of planning and then just batch the writing out. You know, that's probably going to be the way to do that.
Yeah, I would love it if we could do it as a group, and if anyone else is interested, I would love this challenge.
Yeah. Okay. Make a couple of notes on this.
Yeah, I think we have enough stuff that we already have, and plus a bunch of things because we maintain this list of ideas of things we want to do content on. So I think we can pull bits and pieces out of there to make stuff. I've already tried to do that on one of the email lists where I have stuff that comes out every 10 days. It's just those kinds of things, depending on which email list people are on. But yeah, it's hard to plan it out for a whole year, but I think it could be done.
Yeah, and it's just planning out the 100 bits of work that you need to do. Like I said, whether it's curated content or whether it's kind of little tips and tricks and just a very quick short, hey, just dropping in with this thing, wants to let you know that I found this book. It can look very serendipitous and very off the cuff. So it's just making sure you've got that sequence in place, I think. So that's good then. Daryl, thoughts, sir?
Well, I could definitely create the 100 days of content, no problem. It probably take me maybe a week or so. I don't have anybody to send it to. So, but other than that, it'd be great. It'd be a good exercise for me to organize everything and get, basically a way of planning everything out. Having that in my arsenal of when it comes time to pull the trigger, I have something there to pull the trigger on.
Yeah. And it's about loading that up as well, getting it into Aweber or whatever you're using and actually getting that in so that it is all set. So the second that you start filling that list up, people are getting it. You're not worried about, okay, and now I've got this list and I've not sending them anything. Like that's the second biggest thing you can mess up outside of not actually building the email list. Is not doing anything with it. And I'm terrible for it. My excellence expected list I barely do anything with because we're too busy doing this stuff.
So, I already have my 7 steps to IT and all that good stuff. How much can you're right. I mean, something like the 100 days to your IT career. I mean, there's about 1,000 different things I can break things into, but I like to stay consistent with what I'm trying to get started and going right now. Is there a risk of me wearing out my topic?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Just a different way of getting it into someone's hands, right? So you get the podcast, you get the 100-day program,
and reminding people of it as well. And I started thinking about this a couple of weeks ago because I was writing out some topics for the 7-Minute Mentor. And bear in mind that's a 5-day-a-week show, and I never run out of things to talk about. Never ever run out of things to talk about. And you're just planning out like episode. I don't know what I'm on now, 420, whatever. And there's always something to say. And you might be taking one bit from them, amalgamating it with other stuff and coming at it from a different perspective. But there's always something that someone will need to hear for the first time. And that got me thinking about this. When Marco, it was you actually that spurred the conversation about the email list. And I thought, well, actually, once we've built the email list, what the heck are we going to do with it? So it's worth considering. So, Rick, how are you thinking, sir? I can see you kind of pondering and tapping away. What's going on in the brain? What have you got already for the email kind of follow-ups?
It depends on depends on what you're talking about, because my coming out clients, there's definitely a series of stuff they get. For other clients, it's all very customized, I guess, from the coaching perspective, because it depends on what we're working on. But there are definitely 10 very customized emails that go to every client. Basically, there's the 6 of them are, we're going to work through 6 things during this time together, and you'll be getting a series of emails talking about the 6 things. Doesn't matter if you're coming out of the closet, you're getting ready to go through that big change of leaving a job to step into whatever. And so there's an email that goes out around, stepping through the confusion and then stepping into, curiosity, all that sort of stuff. So those are already in place. So I feel like I'm kind of already there in some ways. And plus there's a pre-series of stuff that happens as a client comes on board too. It's like, okay, here's the email that says, here's the agreement, here's how you're going to pay, all that sort of stuff. But before that even happens, there's an email that I send out that says, hey, I'm really excited to be working with you, and here's your last chance to decide you don't want to do something with your life, which is a joke. It's actually, wait, I'm kidding. I know you're ready to do something with your life. You're ready to make that bold move. So it's just an interesting little email. There's nothing to it. Just just another piece of my personality showing up. And then the next email they get like a day later is, so now that we're moving forward, here's the agreement, here's a questionnaire, da, da, da. And then that triggers the series of 6 or 10 emails. Actually, that's 2 of those are part of the 10. Then hits the 6 that are the 6 C's. So the, confusion, curiosity, courage, confidence, commitment, and consistency. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, so I'd kind of spin that around then and talk about that whole, when people come into the newsletter side of things, when people just sign up for the opt-ins and so on, I'd kind of make that a bit of a pre-sales thing and give people a heck of a lot more. And then you can actually start to segment people out based on what they click and what they open, and that start to filter people out. And would they be interested in coaching, or be interested in the speaker or the author? So I think kind of front loading your content would be quite interesting, because you've got a lot of content. And you've got a lot of tidbits, you've got a lot of rants and riffs. There's a lot that you could probably do with that when someone comes in. Because you remember, one of the challenges that we've got is with your stuff is getting people to the point where they understand it's all right to take the next step. So I feel like that's a big opportunity there. When someone's kind of curious and they sign up with that fake email address and they check it once a week, what are we guiding them through? That might be quite an opportunity for you.
Cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. Calm, what about you? I can see you kind of pensively pondering.
Well, Mark, I had never really thought, when you mentioned intimacy with the Echo system, and then you started to talk about content with emails, and here's what I do. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 on Friday and 1 on Sunday, I send out emails to my subscribers. And basically Tuesday is, hey, there's a new episode today, and here's what it's about. All kinds of great links to my social media and stuff, and occasionally a little ad for the Academy. Wednesday, the Academy episode goes out. Friday is an episode. Friday is also the live town hall. So there's a separate at 11:30, a text only. Don't forget at the top of the hour. And then on Sunday, I do a weekend review. And 11 a.m. Sunday morning, it goes out. So I am intimate with my Echo system, if that's what you're describing. And the other thing that I have recently done about 2 months ago is at the beginning of the email for an episode release, I ask a question to my subscriber. It usually has something to do with the theme of the podcast that's going out. I recently did one on electric vehicles and hybrids, and I asked my audience, do you do hybrid vehicle repair? And I don't get a lot, but I absolutely reply to them, which brings that Echo intimacy there. And it really opens up the door where people will email me back because they've already opened up the relationship with me. And sometimes I get 10 replies, and sometimes I get none. Sometimes I get a couple, but I am reaching out, asking for input in almost every, it's cool. I got a button that says email Carm, but those rarely ever happen. But if I ask a direct question, I usually get some replies. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so that's slightly different to the onboarding, because that's really good stuff. Actually, that's what this is. That's our QC. You can't quite see it. That's our QC process for all of our content. Runs right across the board, and then at the bottom, all the different emails, non-members and members, all the other way around. So that's perfect what you're doing there. Think about this slightly differently, though. So that's kind of okay, here's what's happening this week. Here's what's going on. Here's the content. Well, I think the point of the onboarding is that when someone lands in that ecosystem for the very first time, there's a consistently and well-planned way of breeding kind of stickiness in that ecosystem. So what I mean is that they're not going to get bored. They're not going to see these emails that go out and kind of just think, I'm not going to read that, or it's not for me. What we're trying to do with the onboarding is that when someone lands on the email list, they get a very predictable series of curated stuff that's your best stuff. If someone was to say, Cam, give me the top 100 things that you've ever done. Boom, 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 boom. And then after reeling off the 100, they'd be like, holy crap, that is some seriously good stuff. I'm going to stick around. That's the kind of idea. So what you're doing there is wonderful. That's all that day-to-day stuff is fantastic, and the content publishing.
But what could you do to onboard people, to get someone from being a casual, well, I'll put my email address in and just have a little look, to being someone that really kind of cares about the content? That's sort of the difference there.
I get it. And thank you. You just gave me this huge idea. And obviously I got to get my VA to do that for me. Create
now
that.
We're talking.
Delegate.
Definitely. And I think a lot of people will think it is a little bit OTT, but kind of hear me out on this one, which is taking it one step further, which is if you got all these series of content, and I'm going to use Rick as the example for this because Rick's got these varying things that he sells. He's got the kind of coaching, he's got the speaking, the authoring stuff, to be a guest on the podcast, and all sorts of other things that we could sell in the future. When you've got that breadth of content, you can start to plan it from the perspective of, well, if this person keeps opening these kind of emails, they must be interested in this kind of thing. And I can start to then send them other things. As an example of that, I can't show you, it's on the other board there, but we've actually got numerous ones of these at podcast websites where if someone becomes a member of podcast websites, they're added to 2 email lists. 1, you're a member. And 2, you remember, but you've not registered your academy profile. So they're on 2 email lists. We rarely send anything just to members. We'll send it to the 2 other lists that we've got for members, which are you're paying for podcast websites and you've registered your academy, or you're paying for podcast websites and you haven't registered for your academy profile. And we automate that. So if someone then clicks to register their profile and they'll go and register, the system will take them off one list and pop them on another. So it triggers then another sequence of onboarding them into the academy, like go and get this workshop, go and get this checklist, so on. So thinking bigger picture, and again, kind of using Rick and maybe Daryl as an example of this. In fact, Daryl, I'm going to use you as the example. Someone signs up for the IT Career Guy newsletter. It's this totally nondescript, just get my newsletter. They've not come through a course. They've not come through anything that's really specific about a download or a checklist. It's just, I want the newsletter from Daryl. You could very easily create 100 days worth of content, create 30 lots of Avatar 1 stuff, 30 lots of Avatar 2 stuff, 30 lots of Avatar 3 stuff. And if they keep opening Avatar 2, or if they click on something that says, are you this person? Yes, boom. You then send them another 50 days of Avatar 2 only content. So you're not, it's a way of taking people down the funnel without them even realizing they're being taken anywhere. There's a really interesting way of doing it. And Raf, from your perspective, 2 dead simple segmentations with this 100 days worth of content. 50 days, I'm currently in the military. 50 days, I have just left the military. Boom. And then you segment people out. Andrea, from your perspective, I want to make my family life better. I want to make my kids' life better. I want to have a better career. I want, what do we do with people? So that's kind of the why around doing this. It's not just creating 100 days just to onboard. It's also giving you a framework to be able to segment later. Raf, I can see you're looking to say something, sir. I don't want to deprive a man of his time.
Thank you so much. How timely this conversation. As we were sitting here, I got an email submission from a sticker. Oh,
nice.
It just came in through the email. That's how I was using the little jitter. I was like, sweet. So I had 2. So remember when we were talking, you were saying to give a sticker and expect someone to go from a sticker to an email is such a huge leap.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why I'm working on the social media campaign to kind of bridge that. It's happening and I get excited, and this is so timely because I get these email submissions, I do my little jig, but then I'm like, now what? What do I do? And like they're just there, and then I'm like, do I say hi? What's up? There's nothing here. Come back later. But this is perfect, and what I'm actually going to do is the first 10 is going to be introducing them to Get One, Give One, Living to Living, how served is impacting with stories, right? So I'm kind of feeding them sort of that first 10, 15, because my biggest challenge is how do I tell this huge story? And one of the things that I have is I need to learn how to be brevity, right? How to keep it down compact. And I'm loving this because instead of them going to my website and getting overwhelmed with all this information, we can just trickle feed all these ideas and all these thoughts that are running through my mind, and I keep it small, right? So one email would just be like, hey, we got the get one, give one sticker. You probably got a sticker. Here's my email. Show me the picture where you put it. Raf, onwards, and that's it, right? So like, and I love this. So this is giving me great direction, and it's so timely. So thank you.
Good, man. And I'm going to take it one step further as well on this one, because there's a lot that you can do with it, with other things later. So you could very strategically, and Mark, I'm going to use you as the example for this one, very strategically place somewhere in one of your emails something like reply with what you are struggling with. This is, if you ever join my excellence list, it's the first thing I ask you, what are you struggling with? And what you'll get, I get a lot of replies for that. Same with my free coaching stuff. I get a lot of replies coming in for that. And very often I'll either address it on the free coaching, or one thing that you can do is you can very quickly take someone from being this really cold kind of email prospect into being really hot very quickly. You can jump over like 50 days of content. Because what you can do is when someone replies with, I'm struggling with X, link it with something like a Bonjoro video, which we spoke about before, and you quickly send them a quick video. And I do this all the time. I did it earlier. I was supposed to be on a Skype call with someone. There was an issue with their phone. They couldn't take the call. So rather than it being, this guy is, Mark's not bloody able to connect with me, I sent them a quick video. Hey man, look, looks like your phone's off. Been trying 3 or 4 times on Skype at this username. Quick personalized video, got sent to their email address, and underneath call to action, go and now join. Bear in mind, this was a pre-sales chat. He never spoke to me. When he went and joined and paid an annual Planner Podcast website, it's based on him missing a call. So you can very easily, if someone replies with, you know what, Louisa, I'm really struggling. Like my kids are really good at school, but when they come back, they're low on energy and it makes them ratty and they're really misbehaving and I can't deal with this. Can you just help me with this? Quick video. Hey, it's Louisa. This is what I'd suggest. One thing. There's a button underneath it. If you want to book that one-to-one call with me, just to take this further, go ahead and do that. So
these aren't pre-canned. This is real-time videos that you're making.
Yeah, real time. I use Bonjoro for it. I know Rick, you use Loom, and there's BombBomb and a few others out there. So it's really good stuff. But again, if you've got this chain, all this content, you can just drop this, boom, okay, reply if you're struggling. Reply if you're struggling. And you might have 10 emails that are like that. You might have 20 emails that are like that. Like Andrew, from your side, it's all about AI and positive psychology. You just need to be saying, how can I help? 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 And then you just serve up these Bonjoro videos and suddenly people are like, holy crap. Like the North America's positive psychology expert got in touch with me personally, So it's kind of it's not just about the onboarding, it's about the framework for doing other things as well. It's like the spine of the content, if you like. Looks like Carm's taking notes. That's always a good sign. So I've got to wrap it on top of the hour today. I've got a call with Jess and Kieran. So any parting thoughts, any questions? Has it kind of stirred any ideas? Is anyone kind of up for doing this? I'm going to chat individually to anyone that wants to kind of undertake this 100 pieces of content. So any thoughts, any parting shots? All quiet.
I think it's great. I think if this is an exercise that I need to do and it makes so much sense to have it, I love it.
Good. And like I said, it doesn't have to be crazy.
So I've definitely been wondering what the heck am I going to do if I ever do get anybody on my email list. So I definitely need to get prepared. So I'm on board.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. This was this again, I think pushes the envelope. I couldn't do this without help since I'm so buried. But yeah, this is great.
Good. And just a bit of a heads up as well. You guys are the first to know this actually. We've got a new starter starting at podcast websites on 30th of July. So we've got Hannah in, who's not here today. She's on leave. And then we've got James, who's going to be basically my boss. And he's going to be sort of head of podcast satisfaction and internal ops. The reason I'm telling you this is that my role is going to focus on marketing and really building the biz. So everything that I'm going to be doing for podcast websites, all the things that work, all this stuff that I'm doing, all this stuff, I'm going to be sharing that with you guys on the Mastermind. So all the stuff that we're improving on the academy, we're building the membership out, building the platform out, got the new product dev coming. So I'm just going to bring it all the learning that I do. I'm just going to bring it into this group and just let you guys have it. So you should start to see a lot more kind of different and more really specific kind of marketing-based stuff as well. So I know that everyone's at the point now they want to grow the reach, which is what we're doing here as well. So that's a bit of a heads up for you.
Awesome.
So cool. Right, well, we'll wrap it in a couple of minutes. Anyone need anything else before we wrap it? We all set? We've all got our sessions tomorrow.
I just had a thought. Maybe we can get some comments on Skype or on Slack or the next time. Just talking about building an email list. Do people have the most success with their landing page for the email list with having copy on there, or just having a place like, okay, email and submit?
It depends.
I've heard different theories on both, and tried both, but not sure what works better because we're not getting a whole lot of response. So I don't know if it's worth spending some time on that at some point.
Yeah, it is kind of, and I think the honest answer is it's a mix of both, for the right reasons. You know, if you're giving someone something, you've got to tell them what you're giving. If you want the latest updates, that's very clear what you're doing. Mm-hmm. We're actually experimenting as well, and we're going to be launching. This is a totally different way of doing it. And I was talking to Mike, the membership guys, on this. There's not many people in the world even doing this. We're actually going to give away a free membership to the Podcast Success Academy for anyone. Any podcaster will be able to access the Podcast Success Academy totally free. But all the good shit, that's for you guys. So we're going to give all the content upgrades away, every blog post or every piece of content that we do runs through a format, which I can probably go through next week. And all of the content upgrades we're going to put inside a free membership. And then we're going to give certain other bits away. And then there'll be a paid for version of it. And then eventually Podcast Websites members. So you guys will be at the top tier of it, but there will be a massive value free membership coming as well. So that's a different way of building the email list as well. We're just going to put your email address into download. It's going to be just get this free membership. So I'm curious how that's going to work as well. Mm-hmm. But I'll keep you guys posted.
I just picked my first lock. There's another win for the week.
That's a win. And the challenge is picking the second one. Good work, guys. Right. I must call time on this one, but good session today. I know it's been a lot of listening for you guys, but we've all got one-to-one tomorrow. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Marco, I think it's late on for you tonight, so I'll see you at the usual time.
Okay.
And, we'll all chat tomorrow.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Break on 3.
Break on 3.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
1, 2, 3.